it.
Oh my God. It's every time like I'm launching the rocket ship. Like, is it not? What's happening? Hello, Paula.
Hello, gorgeous. How are you?
I am amazing. How are you?
I am wonderful. Living the dream.
You are truly living a dream. Okay, let me translate a little bit. Ok, rekla sam da sam uvek nervozna kada pokrećemo live, zato što imam utisak kao da lansiramo raketu u svemir, nikada ne znam je li krenulo, nije krenulo. Poželjela sam dobrodošlicu Pauli i krećemo. Okay, gorgeous. So we're today on the topic of instant change. Before we go into the topic, let's say like that, I would really, really love if you can just tell a little bit about yourself and your background, so people who might not know you know a little bit more about you. Dakle, pitala sam Paulu da je, najavili smo temu instant promena, ali sam je zamolila pre nego što krenemo u temu večerašnju da kaže malo više o sebi, možda za ljude koji nikada nisu čuli za nju, a verovatno vas ima dosta, da malo više kaže o sebi. Okay, your turn.
Thank you. Well, I'm excited for this conversation. Thank you, Milena, for being the instigator of it. Yeah, so my name's Paula Peralta. I live in Los Angeles, California. I enjoy long walks on the beach and facilitating consciousness.
Dobro večer, moje ime je Paula Peralta i ja dolazim iz Los Anđelesa. Ja volim duge šetnje plažom i da facilitiram svesnost. Wow. I wanted to have music background, but I forgot it.
Amazing. So Milena and I actually create together on my team, my facilitating team. And in addition to, I think I have lipstick on my teeth. In addition to facilitating, I also work as a hairdresser. So I work behind the chair. I'm an art director for a hair care company as well. So I spend a lot of time working with people and their hair.
Dakle, Paula kaže da je, znači počet ćemo sa time da ona jeste Access Consciousness facilitator i da zajedno radimo u timu, ja i ona. Međutim, ona je rekla da je njena profesija to što je ona profesionalni frizer i takođe radi u art team, bi bio kao tim koji stvara, znači tim koji je u pozadini, koji stvara cijel sadržaj za jednu kompaniju koja se bavi takođe produktima za kosu i tako dalje i tako dalje. I rekla sam da sam, I'm sorry, i rekla sam da sam htjela da imam muzičku pozadinu, ali sam zaboravila skroz. Okay.
Okay. So several years ago, I realized that when my clients come in, they often want to talk about like their problems, whether it's relationship or money or their body or beauty or their kids, whatever it is, their jobs. Like they were just constantly coming to me and they were just, run down by life and what was going on.
Da, primetila je pre par godina da su njeni klijenti njoj dolazili sa raznim temama i raznim problemima o kojima su htjeli da razgovaraju sa njom, bez obzira da li je to telo, odnosi, posao, deca, bilo šta što može da bude neko područje života i da su baš bili time revoltirani i da su htjeli o tome da razgovaraju sa njom.
And at the same time, I was really struggling with major anxiety and depression.
A u isto vrijeme ona se borila sa anksioznošću i sa depresijom.
And so I would, like, every morning I would set like the anxiety and depression on the shelf and I would go into the salon and I would work with my clients and they would talk to me about all their problems and all their depression and all their anxiety. And so then I would go home with their problems and their energy. And then I would take down that box of anxiety and depression that I had left on the shelf for myself that day. And then it just became this insane downward spiral that was not sustainable.
We're so cute. Da, ona kaže da bi ona svaki dan stavila svoju anksioznost i svoju depresiju u jednu tegu na policu i onda bi otišla u salon i onda bi u salonu slušala sve te probleme koje njoj ljudi pričaju i skupljala bi te probleme i sa tim problemima bi dolazila kući bi uzela, ponovo bi otvorila svoju teglu sa svojom anksioznošću i depresijom i rekla je da je počinjala da biva jako, jako teže i da to nije baš funkcionisalo za nju.
And then, obviously, like I said, that's not sustainable. And so eventually I was just like, this can't work. This doesn't work for me. And my business partner at the time was doing this thing called access consciousness.
Dakle, rekla je da to jednostavno nije bilo održivo i rekla je da je shvatila da ne može tako da ide dalje i da to ne funkcioniše. U to vreme njen poslovni partner je radio nešto što se zvalo access consciousness, poznato?
Yeah. And she, I noticed that like things were changing with her. She was choosing different things in her life. And I started asking her questions about it. And eventually she said, oh, my brother is doing like an intro class in San Francisco, which was like an hour flight away from Los Angeles. And she's like, if you want to come, like, you're welcome to come.
Dakle, Paula je primetila da je ta žena počela da bira drugačije stvari, da je počela nešto drugačije da se dešava u njenom životu. Paula je postala zainteresovana i onda joj je njen poslovni partner, ta žena, rekla da njen brat drži uvodno predavanje u San Francisku, što je bilo otprilike sat vremena leta od Los Anđelesa i Paula je izabrala da ode na to uvodno predavanje.
So I flew to San Francisco after working a full day in the salon, and I barely made it on time. And I walked in and there was a man named Dr. Dane here who was giving a class.
Lucky you.
Yeah.
Dakle, rekla je da je posle celodnevnog dana u salonu ona otišla da uhvati taj let za San Francisco i da je jedva stigla na taj let, pošto je morala da odradi cijelu smenu. I kada je došla tamo, čovjek po imenu Dane Here je držao predavanje o metodi koja se zove, was it a bar intro class?
It wasn't. It was, I think it was like a Being You intro or an ESB something. It was like when he does those evening classes during, I want to say everyone was in COP. I have no, like, I can't really, I had no idea what I was walking into.
Da, bilo je jedno od uvodnih predavanja koje se možda zvalo Budi svoj ili nešto slično. Ja sam mislila da je bio bar uvodno predavanje, ali nije. Bilo je nešto isto iz Accessa, samo na drugačiju temu.
So I walked into the intro, I sat down, obviously the room was full of people, and this man starts talking about, I don't even remember what it was, but it was just, there was an energy present that I was like, wow, this is really incredible. And he also, Dane does this thing called ESB, and he actually called me up and was like, hey, you lady, like, come up here. And I was like, what I said was, I knew you were going to call on me. Like, I knew it. I don't know. I just had an awareness, a sense now looking back. Like, I knew that's like, that was the day that things were starting to change for my life. So he called me up and he did a session with me.
Kaže da je taj dan kada je sedela i ne sjeća se uopšte o čemu je Dane pričao, zna samo da je bila prisutna ta neka nevjerovatna energija i da je on prozvao od svih tih ljudi tu koji su sedeli i zvao je da izađe na binu. Dobro, Dane radi nešto što se zove energetska sinteza bića i to je neki tretman koji može da se radi 1 na 1. I Paula kaže da je ona tačno znala i da mu je rekla, znala sam da ćeš mene da prozoveš i da ćeš mene da izabereš i znala je da je to dan kada će početi stvari da se menjaju u njenom životu.
Amazing. And so I don't remember a lot about that session. I remember that I cried a lot, so much that my lashes came off.
Ne sjećam se puno šta se dešavalo u tom tretmanu. Znam da sam puno plakala i da su mi veštačke trepavice spale.
And I remember him, I remember afterwards, we're down in the bar and kind of having a drink, and I was like, what is this thing? Like, what's this thing that you did? Like, what did you do? And he said to me, well, what did you like? What was it like for you? And I said, well, it was almost like you like found a crack, ripped it open, like cleaned out all the like shit, and then just like put in all the like love and light and just like, spark all the good sparkly things. And what he said to me then changed my life forever. And he said, is it possible that all of those things already existed in you and I just helped you access them and helped you to make them more available?
I'm gonna cry now. Okay. Kaže ona, posle su se sreli u holu, u lobiju i ona je njega pitala, ok, šta je ovo? Šta je ova čudna stvar što si radio na meni? Prosto bilo je neverovatno i ona je rekla, ok, Den je nju pitao šta to znači za tebe. Paula je rekla da je njoj to sve izgledalo kao da je pronašao pukotinu i izvadio iz nje sve što nije valjalo, zatvorio je i prosto je napunio nežnošću, svetlošću i svim lepim energijama. I kaže da je onda tada Dane njoj izjavio nešto što ona nikada neće zaboraviti, a to je da li su možda, postavio je pitanje šta misliš da li su sve te stvari u smislu nežnost, svetlo i sve te prelepe stvari već postojale u tebi.
Yeah. And
we didn't say like the most important thing. Dr. Dane here is actually co-creator.
Yes. Sorry. I usually always say that. Yeah. So in case you don't know, Dr. Dane here is the co-creator of Access Consciousness. And so, and leave it to me, because this story actually gets better, because of course, like my first ever class, I'm like, I'm going to Dr. Dane here's class. And
of course.
And obviously change my reality. I just go right to the top, change my reality, and then
my girl.
So, and how did I get so lucky?
Yeah.
So we were then in that session chatting, and I found out that there was a bars class coming up. I think it was like 10 days away in Houston. So at this point, I didn't even realize that bars, like local bars classes, were a thing. So I was like, but what I heard was that Dane and Gary, who's the founder of Access Consciousness, were doing a bars class. And so I was like, great, yep, I'm in.
So, Paula kaže da rekla, ja sam rekla, ali nismo rekli glavnu stvar, da čovek o kome ona priča, Dr. Dan Heer, je zapravo ko-kreator cijele metode Access Consciousness, to jest Access Barsa takođe. I ona kaže da, kako sam ja pametna, ja nisam htjela da idem nikoga drugog, nego sam tačno znala da pogodim pravo kod njega da odem. Zapravo ona kaže da je taj isti dan saznala da je 7 dana od tog datuma da Dan Heer i Gary Douglas, koji je osnivač ove metode, drže bar stečaj, znači samo u razmaku od nedelju dana od tog dana od kako je ona otišla na uvodno predavanje.
So I went to that bar class.
I forgot. Rekla je da nije zapravo znala da postoje bar stečajevi da se odigravaju lokalno i da je to za nju bilo, prvi put je čula u životu, nije imala pojma šta je to. Okay, sorry.
Yeah. So I went to the bars class, and I'm going to say I felt like, I don't know if you guys have these there, but here there's like these big electrical boxes that are like on the sides of the street next to light poles. And you can hear them kind of going wah, 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 right? If you walk by them, I don't know if you can
those. Yeah. Malo je osjećaj kao kada uzmete, na primjer, kada biste prošli pored kutije sa strujom i samo onaj zvuk koji ta kutija sa strujom proizvodi. Eto taj osjećaj, to je čula.
So the first time that I got my bars done, that's how my body felt. Like I felt like I was like floating off the table as this like energy ball of like wah, 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 wah. And I was just like, what is happening?
Da, i kaže da kada su je pokrenuli bars na tečaju prvi put da se osjetila tako kao da lebdi iznad stola i kao da je ta kutija sa strujom, da se čuje taj zvuk i pitala se šta se događa.
And it's funny because, it's not like I was like, oh, and suddenly like I walked out of that room and the stars were shining brighter and the sky was more blue than it had ever been.
And you saw the angels.
Yeah, no, like it wasn't that. I had that like physical sensation, which isn't true for everybody, but that is absolutely what showed up for me. And then I kind of just continued about my life. Can I translate that?
Yeah, I'm going to try to put bits and pieces. Okay, ona kaže da za nju nije imalo taj promena, za nju nije izgledala kao prosto ušetala u sobu i onda se svetlo pojavilo, ja sam se šalila i onda si videla sve anđele. Ona kaže ne, imala je taj neprijatan osjećaj strujnih krugova oko nje. And I lost it. Okay,
I was just saying like yeah, just that like my life kind of went on, and so I didn't have this like massive, awakening. And also what I will tell you is I never from that moment forward had one of like a massive depressive episode after that. Like that's the short story.
Yeah, thank you. Dakle, kaže da se njen život nastavio najnormalnije, posle toga nije sad da je bilo kao neka wow velika promena, ali ono što je najviše primetila je da je postajala laganija i da nije imala više velikih napada depresije kao ranije i da su tu zapravo počele te vrste promena.
Yeah. And then I took a couple more bars classes after that, and I think I became a bars facilitator within just a few months of getting my bars run for the first time.
I vuklo je i ona je završila još nekoliko bars tečajeva posle tog prvog i kaže da misli da je postala već posle par meseci sama bars voditelj, jer je toliko sve to nju privlačilo.
And I mean, and then a few months after that, I took my first foundation. And then within that year, I became a facilitator for access consciousness.
Da, i onda posle toga je uzela jedan napredni tečaj par meseci posle toga i zapravo je postala i sertifikovani facilitator access consciousnessa.
Yeah. And now I get to share the same magic and wah, 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 wah that I experienced.
Kaže da ona sada može zapravo da deli istu magiju sa drugim ljudima i cijelo to wow iskustvo. Okay, yeah, but it's really important for the people who are listening for the first time, like the experience from person to person is different when they get to know the bars. For somebody, it's something completely different than it was for you or for me,
totally.
etc.
Yeah, so, I mean, and that's the thing is like, when people get their bars run, sometimes it feels like nothing. Like sometimes it's, life changing. Like when you hear Dane talk about it, he was like, suddenly, he went from wanting to die to like realizing that this world is a beautiful place and he didn't want to die. And for me, I was like in and out of these like majorly depressive episodes where I would, for like 2 weeks, just stay in bed and be so sad and just like couldn't function and it happened without me knowing, I think. Like it just occurred where like I had more ease and I had more space and it just was better. Like my life was better and I was happier. And that for me was like what showed up. I didn't have like angels coming down from the heavens.
Ja sam onda rekao da, ali htjela sam samo da nagovestim za ljude koji se prvi put susreću sa bars metodom ili slušaju prvi put o bars metodi, nije za svakoga isto. To što je Paula imala osjećaj strujne kutije, ne znači da će to i za vas i za mene nije bilo tako. I onda je Paula rekla da za svakoga je drugačije, svako je imao neko svoje iskustvo. Naprimer, dr. Denhir, o kom je sada pričala, koji je suosnivač metode, za njega je posle prvog iskustva barsa bilo to da je on zaista želeo da okonča svoj život, do toga da kada je završio sa bars tretmanom shvatio koliko je sve lepo što ga okružuje i prosto je totalno promenio tu tačku gledišta. Za Paulu je to bilo iskustvo da su se njene epizode depresije sve više smanjivale, do toga da je počela da ima i dobija tu radost života. Yeah, and definitely, I think this is the common element with the bars, like that no matter do you feel something or you do not feel anything, like during the treatment session, like you are, when you get off that table, you are having this tremendous sense of ease with yourself, with the life, with everything that was like a huge problem like 1 hour before.
Mm-hmm. And that's, so now, so obviously, like, one of the things with depression is you can really have really bad insomnia, and just like general, I also have like ADD, and so my brain gets like cluttered really easily, and the bars actually has helped with all of that. And even now I try to get my bars run every week, because it helps to create the space so I'm not constantly like zzz, or wah, 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 wah in a bad way.
Yeah, thank you for this. Znači, ono što sam ja sad rekla na početku razgovora je da nebitno da li ćete posle bars tretmana nešto osetiti ili u toku bars tretmana ili nećete. Znači, za svakoga je drugačije, ali definitivno zajednički element koji povezuje sve nas je da nije postojala osoba, barem ne da sam je ja upoznala, Paula, i iz raznih iskustava koje sam čula, da osoba koja je ustala sa stola nije imala tu neku vrstu olakšanja i lakoće odjednom sa sobom, sa svojim životom, i sve što je izgledalo kao užasan problem pre sat vremena prosto je postalo toliko lagano i lako rešivo. I onda je Paula ponovo rekla da je problem njen, da ona voli da prima jednom nedeljno barsi. Zašto? Zato što sa tim naletima depresije koje je imala, to je olakšavalo. Takođe da je neko koji ima ADD, ADHD, poremećaje pažnje i koncentracije, što imam i ja, i to sam saznala relativno nedavno, gde sam bila u totalnoj pogrešnosti sa sobom misleći da sam luda. Ona je rekla da njoj pomaže da ne bude to svuda redom, već da joj pomaže da ima lakoću sa sobom, i zato se trudi barem jednom nedeljno da ima bars tretman na sebi.
Yeah, so anytime now I'm irritable or like super tired or can't sleep or just like am feeling like creatively blocked, I'll get my bars run.
Da, i sad svaki put kada se osjeća kao da je iziritirana, da ne može da spava ili bilo koju tu senzaciju, ona kaže da uvek odradi bars da bi izašla iz toga i da bi imala lakoću sa tim. Yeah, this is my translation, like da, ljudi, oprostit ćete mi, ovo je moj prevod koji je sa mojim poremećajima pažnje i koncentracije.
Amazing. But yeah, so I mean, I think now it's like the thing that I know now, is probably 5 years ago that I first was introduced to the tools of access consciousness, and I have like more ease, more joy, more fun, more money than I did before. And those are all connected and interconnected. And, I don't know exactly what change will show up for you, whoever's watching this now or in the future, but I know that the bars and the tools of access consciousness will create change.
Da, dakle, ona kaže, evo imam već možda 5 godina od kako je prvi put, znači, bila na bar stečaju, i ona kaže da zna da sada već ima toliko puno više lakoće, zabave i novca nego što je ikada imala, i da je sve to prosto međusobno povezano. I kaže, ja ne znam tačno kako će za vas izgledati ta promena, ali definitivno će sve ovo doći, jer je bars nešto što to kreira tu lakoću u našem životu. Yeah. So, Paula, da, šta zapravo bars može kreirati za vas? Yeah, and definitely like there was no case that I've known or I heard of that bars didn't change like tremendously something in somebody's life. Ja kažem da ne znam za primjer da sam ja čula ili da mi je neko ispričao da bars nije kreirao promenu nekome. Znači prosto ne postoji da se nije ništa desilo i da ne radi. Yeah, Paula, so I know we are having a call in 15 minutes. I could go on like for an hour.
Yes.
Thank you so much for sharing your experience. And like, this is like somewhere my really big desire is like to share more and more stories with people so people can hear. And I'm so happy that I met like your energy with the energy of all people who are going to watch this. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Dakle, zaista sam zahvalna što je Paula došla i što je podelila svoju energiju, svoju priču sa nama i moja velika želja je da delim što više iskustava ljudi koji su probali bars ili su bars facilitatori iz cijelog sveta kako bih približila ovu metodu i vama. Hvala vam puno i vidimo se. Thank you, Paula.
Thank you. We'll see you on Insta-famous.
Yes, vidimo se na Insta Famous koji počinje za 15 minuta. Ćao!
Bye.